turn our attention to Hong Kong, where the authorities have been clearing barricades erected by protesters in the city's Central and Admiralty districts. The operation to clear the streets is expected to continue late into the night. To Hong Kong police, all barriers blocking roads and pedestrian access on Connaught Road Central, Harcourt Road, Tin Ma Avenue, Tin May Avenue, and Gloucester Road will be removed on Thursday. The protest site in Causeway Bay will be cleared later.
"75 days of occupying the streets may be history for now. Hong Kong authorities started to clear the protest sites in Admiralty, the site of the SAR government headquarters, and the biggest demonstration area.
This is the starting point of the whole occupation area in Admiralty and Central area. As you can see, the bailiffs have started to clear the barricades set by the protesters. Earlier, the bailiffs have read the injunction order this morning and warned the protesters to leave the streets as soon as possible. And from what we've seen here, there's no resistance for now from the protester side. And this road is called Connaught Road, and this road is leading to the city's government headquarters and Chief Executive's office and Legislative Council building. And there will be more barricades over there. And for the past 2 months, the whole area was occupied.
Dozens of workers used cutters to separate the barriers, held together with tape, cable ties, and even bicycle locks. The court injunction was requested by a local bus company. It allows bailiffs to request the assistance of the police where necessary to clear the site.
The police has deployed enough officers for clearing the barricades. We hope the process goes smoothly and that no unlawful activities will occur.
Around 7,000 policemen have been deployed, with the announcement made beforehand to give protesters time to leave.
This is the heart of the occupation area in Admiralty. As you can see, the police are removing the barricades, tents set by the protesters for the past 2 months. And from what we've seen now, there's no resistance from the protesters now.
The clearance operation met resistance when hundreds of protesters blocked the main road. After repeated warnings, police started to arrest the protesters. The leader of the Student Federation, Alex Cho, said they would continue their movement through different methods.
And it means that we need a variety of non-corporate movement so as to press the government to respond to corporate voice.
Others who live in the city say enough is enough.
What the police did was the right thing. I support the police efforts at enforcing the law. The protesters always claim they're peaceful, but there's nothing peaceful about them.
As for the other 2 protest sites, Mong Kok was cleared a fortnight ago, and police say the smaller camp at Causeway Bay will be cleared soon as well. Zhu Dan, CCTV, Hong Kong.
And now for the latest from Hong Kong, we're joined live by our reporter Ying Yuan. Welcome on China 24, Yuan. So from the earlier package, we could see that police have met with resistance from the protesters. How is the clearance operation going at this hour?
Good evening, Mom. And here in Admiralty, the clearance operation still continues as the most part of the occupied sites in Admiralty has been cleared. And behind me, the road under this footbridge used to be the main occupied site in Admiralty and occupied by hundreds of protesters. But now we can see all the tents, barricades, pallets, and those slogan posters have been cleared away. And according to the current progress, that police say the clearance operation could finish by today, and the traffic in Admiralty could be reopened around midnight. At first this morning, that the areas covered by the injunction order have been cleared with no resistance. And later in the afternoon, police started to clear the rest of the occupied roads in Admiralty, starting from 2 p.m. And the protesters were informed that they could leave freely before the 2 p.m. And later, police started to cut off the entire protest zone. And if anyone still refuses to leave, they may face the arrest. And also, if anyone would like to leave after 2 p.m., after the time limit, and they will have to leave their personal identities and may face the future persecution. And as a result, that most of the occupiers, they have packed up by themselves and left. However, still about more than 100 protesters chose to stay, and they advocated that they would stay until the end, and they were waiting to be arrested by the police officers. And some of these protesters, they were lying on the ground with their hands held together, and police officers later wheeled them off one by one. And also some other protesters, they were waiting until the officers to approach to them, and they walked into the police cars by themselves. And even the police officers earlier said that they may use minimum force if anyone started charging officers. But still, we can see that so far there was no clashes, and the clearance operation have been carried out in general in peace. Back to you, Mama.
Well, thank you so much, Yuan, for that update. That's our Yuan live for us from Hong Kong. Now we have some background information for you of how things started and developed over the past 2 months. After 74 days of protests, the occupation of streets in Hong Kong is finally coming to an end. On September 28th, thousands of protesters blocked roads and paralyzed business districts in Admiralty. The following week saw protesters taking the street every night. They also blockaded traffic junctions in key parts of the city, including Causeway Bay, Mong Kok, and Kenton Road, effectively shutting down shops and restaurants. In a meeting with U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi denounced the protests as illegal gatherings and warned the United States not to interfere in China's internal affairs. In the following days, there were scuffles and arrests at various protest camps. And on October 21st, after nearly a month of standoffs, the Hong Kong SAR government and students held their first formal talks but failed to reach an agreement. On November 18th, the city's High Court granted an injunction to clear a portion of the Admiralty camp in front of CITIC Tower. A week later, the clearance of Mong Kok also began, with activists attempting to retake the site at night. And to resist the clearance, hundreds of student protesters blockaded government offices in Admiralty on November 30th and December 1st, but were fended off by police. And after that, the 3 co-founders of Occupy Central handed themselves in to police, and Joshua Wong, the founder of the student activist group Scholarism, ended his 4-day hunger strike. As the protest lost steam, another injunction ordered the removal of the main camp in Admiralty. More than 2 months of street occupations have had a severe impact on Hong Kong's catering and tourism industries. The Hong Kong Federation of Restaurants and Related Trades announced on Wednesday that business turnover in the major Occupy sites have lost over 3 billion Hong Kong dollars since the protest began, an average of 50 million per day. And there are about 24,000 restaurants in Hong Kong with 300,000 employees. The tourism industry has also suffered. The Hong Kong Tourism Board reported a 5% drop in arrivals from the neighboring region. And earlier we spoke to Andrew Leung, an independent international specialist on China based in Hong Kong. He shared his views on how to solve the political standoff in Hong Kong, revive the economy, and maintain social stability.
Even though the clearance operation can be considered relatively smooth, but then this is only the beginning, the end of the beginning, rather than the beginning of the end. I think that we're entering into an era, possibly entering into an era of civil disobedience and non-cooperation. And that could be very, very destructive for Hong Kong's governance. So if the political parties continue to carry on with filibustering, blocking the passage of any government proposals, so the government could grind to a halt. So I think that the need is there to come up with a political reform package that could address some of the issues, for example, but without breaking the basic law. For example, how to broaden the representation of the nominating committee, how to make sure that different stakeholders in the community are represented in the nominating committee, while preserving the equal weight between the four sectors. Secondly, trying to find a way to enable the political parties to have a bigger role to play in the government. Well, in fact, as the Occupy movement is grinding to an end, the property market is recovering a bit. And even at the height of the Occupy movement, investors are not shying away in a big way, although of course the stock market has taken a battering. I think Hong Kong's economic fundamentals still remain. So provided I don't think any short-term measures are unlikely to solve the problem. It's more important to restore, to establish kind of rapport between the political parties so as to avoid, a worsening of the confrontational stance adopted by the political parties. That's even more important.